Libya is on the way to becoming a terrorist outpost for possible future attacks on Europe. The prospect has been raised by Libya's former prime minister, who came to power following the overthrow of the Gaddafi regime. He recently fled the country, where rival militias run rampant and are in de facto control of the state. Gayane Chichakyan explains.
For extremist groups looking for weapons and resources, Libya is the place to be. The Western-backed former Libyan Prime Minister Ali Zaidan has warned about the rise of al-Qaeda there. He fled the country after the Islamist-led parliament dismissed him earlier this month. The NATO-led intervention 3 years ago left Libya awash with weapons, both from Colonel Gaddafi's arsenal and those provided by coalition countries to help topple the former leader. The uncontrolled flow of arms has since helped fuel terror throughout the region, from Syria all the way to West Africa.
We're also destroying nations, not just Libya, Nigeria, northern Mali, Burkina Faso. These countries have all been affected by terrorism, which is a result of the 3-year-old overthrow of the government of Libya.
And we will see its effect mostly on Egypt in the next few months prior to the summer elections. You will see more violence in Egypt, with a lot of the weaponry coming out from Libya, because the Libyan-Egyptian borders are very porous.
Libya's central government has little control over the militias that have claimed different parts of the country for themselves.
We have evidence, and we've seen evidence, that Libya is becoming sort of the Afghanistan of Africa, and North Africa specifically.
Armed groups have seized control of Libya's key oil ports. Earlier in March, U.S. Special Forces captured a North Korean-flagged tanker with crude oil that one militia loaded to sell independent of Tripoli. Tripoli International Airport is also under the control of gunmen. Most international airlines have suspended flights there after rockets struck the runway. While Libya's warlords are fighting each other, the chaos allows terrorist networks to grow, train, and metastasize.
Libya, because of its size and remote areas, is very suitable for al-Qaeda to make it a safe haven. It's large, and its location, with access to Egypt and to Europe, and to the heart of Africa, so it's really a suitable place for gathering.
The chaos in Libya has long spilled over its borders and now poses a threat to global security. It seems every day the country is stepping further away from the democratic path that the U.S. and its allies envisioned when they helped topple Colonel Gaddafi 3 years ago. In Washington, I'm Gayane Chichakyan, RT.
All right, let's take a closer look at what's going on in Libya right now. There are approximately 1,700 militant groups on Libyan territory. The majority of them are very, very small. The government, though, controls only about 20 of 400 army weapons stockpiles left after the fall of Gaddafi. Thousands of anti-aircraft missiles capable of bringing down planes, well, those are among the arms seized by insurgents. Weaponry missing from those stockpiles now circulating all around the Middle East and have turned up in countries ranging all the way from Mali to Syria. Now, Middle East expert Sukant Chandan believes the situation has been created by the very people who encouraged the overthrow of Gaddafi in the first place.
What the West has achieved in Libya is knocking out what is known by some as the shield of Libya, which was the government of Muammar Gaddafi, the Jamahiriya, which was the main vanguard, investor and political leader of the African Union, and which developed South-South relations, particularly with the left nationalist countries of Latin America. Muammar Gaddafi was way too much of a problem for Western interests, particularly in relation to the hydrocarbon industry in Libya, in relation to which Financial Times accused Libya in 2009 of quote-unquote resource nationalism. That has been knocked out, but there remains a little bit of a problem for the Western powers, which is trying to get these unruly militias or death squads to facilitate their oil exports to their own coffers. The junta in Tripoli can not even control Tripoli. It is actually ostensibly held hostage in Tripoli by at least 4 major death squads, including those who kidnapped Mr. Zidane, and also held him hostage briefly by means of a grenade and handgun in one of his own offices. And also Zidane, he's fled, but it's Zidane and his allies and NATO allies who put into power in Tripoli various death squads whose ideology is very similar to what can be called broadly Al-Qaeda. So really Mr. Zidane is, and the rest of the people who have come to power literally on the wings of NATO, seem just ridiculous that on the one hand they've allied with these death squads and then they flee because these death squads threaten their lives.